right, and we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast, episode number 24. And it's another glorious Sunday, and I'm extremely excited to introduce our special guest today. So let's get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who I had the pleasure of meeting in the flesh at this year's Guardian Con. His videos are always passionate, highly informative, and sometimes very critical of topics most YouTubers are afraid to comment on. While some may incorrectly label his views as hate, this Lord fights the good fight for the gaming community by also providing solutions to these issues and contributing with some of the coolest fan-made exotics you will ever see in Destiny. Introducing the looter shooter champion, the fearless non-corporate member of the Destiny community, and the Lord who will always hold you accountable in his comment section. My man, Lord KackisHD, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. That was quite the intro there.
Yeah, he don't give his ego a little bit too much now.
we have to show loyalty. We have to show royalty respect here at the ILP. And we always appreciate
I really think you're legitimately the only Destiny YouTuber I know that does not care what feathers you ruffle.
How are you doing on this glorious Sunday?
I mean, I'm a little tired. I was up till like 4 a.m., but I'm powering through. I'm excited to do this. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, nice. And of course, we have the usual suspects at the round table. My co-host with the co-most, my brother from another mother, and the non-aggro gamer himself, my man, Lord Addict. How are we doing, sir?
Pretty good. I worked all night shift, got 3 hours of sleep, so I'm pretty much the exact same boat as HD. So.
I feel bad. I got like 6 hours of sleep, so all right.
I'm used to it. This is a weekly thing to me.
Everybody's powering through a lot of fights last night. Oh man, a lot of stuff. And of course, our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player experience. Semi-offline Xbox profile, Illuminati, my man, Lord Sovereign. How are we doing, sir?
Doing fantastic, man. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. A lot of combat sports last night, and just watching a lot of press conferences, a lot of tears flowing. So
I hear you.
Saturday night,
and of course, the excess gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord who is a man of his convictions and demands nothing less than the premium experience.
Ooh.
Beloved, Lord King, how are we doing, sir?
We're doing fantastic. 7/29/17 was a wonderful day for combat sports. It should be marked on your calendar. It should be a holiday. It was so fantastic.
Yeah, I know. It was UFC was awesome last night.
Well, I mean, I won't get into the fact that I said combat sports, but another individual understands that he want to underline the UFC. And fantastic for you, sir, that you watched your combat sport, you watched UFC. That's fantastic. While other people in the world, actually 2.3 million people viewed Showtime's experience with Adrian Broner versus Garcia. It was fantastic. While 500,000 people purchased the UFC. Thank you, sir. The numbers have spoken. You have been voted out.
Always fighting the good fight for boxing.
There we go, baby.
I mean, there's so few of him around.
That's 2.3 million is so few of us.
All right. Let's continue.
Let's continue.
Right.
Oh man, of course, it is being Lord Cognito here. We're spreading the gaming realness on the ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And of course, we got another great little show lined up. So I want to first, before we get into it, we do our normal, what the Lords are playing, but I want to get to Lord Kackis because I want to kind of get his gaming history. Like, where did this magical journey start for you before you became one of the biggest Destiny YouTubers in these streets?
I mean, geez, I've been gaming for a while, but like a long while. But in terms of YouTube, like I started with where I think a lot of people started when back in the day. Like I've been doing YouTube for it must be years now. One of the first videos I posted on my the KackisHD channel was Modern Warfare 3. So that came out a while ago, and I had a channel before that that I was posting Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 2. So yeah, it was like I did Call of Duty for a while. I was Black Ops 2. I actually did okay like at Black Ops 2. Like I was the classic small Call of Duty YouTuber, found modest success. Then I switched into Borderlands.
Borderlands.
That was kind of the start of the looter shooter experience. Doing Borderlands
Day one.
doing Borderlands 2 videos, like that was pretty fun. And then for some reason, switched into Battlefield 4, and there was a time between Borderlands 2 and Destiny where I was just doing Battlefield 4. Like I was a Battlefield 4 YouTuber and actually had like reasonable success in that.
Nice.
But then switched into Destiny, and then I've been doing Destiny ever since. Except for like there was a little bit of a time where I was covering the Division pretty hardcore, and then like the Division, the Division and Destiny. And then the April update came out, which was really good actually. So went back into Destiny, and kind of stopped doing Division.
I'm sure when Bungie saw you jumping back on the Destiny train, they're like, "Yo, we did something good. HD is playing our game again."
Well, yeah, it was like the April update was quality. Like it did add a lot of good stuff. Like I don't just complain out there. When something good happens, I'm more than willing to say, hey, this is good. The April update was good. Remade the prison, a bunch of new weapons, bunch of new armor. It's just so much. Before the prison was what? Crimson Days?
Horrible.
Horrible.
I don't even think I logged into Destiny for that activity.
Yeah, I beat it in one day, in one match. Like I played with a friend, and we did like 5 matches, and we got both the ghost shells. So we're like, all right, there it is. Like that's it.
Done. I know. It was kind of light on the content side.
That's not there.
No doubt. So when you said with the Borderlands and stuff like that was kind of like your early beginnings. My question, as far as like on a console, like what was the first console? KackisHD was your first one.
Dude, I wasn't like OG way back with like N64s or whatever, because my parents were like convinced that video games would like ruin me. Turns out, I'm the one laughing now, but
Tell him.
yeah, I started with like a GameCube. That was my first console that I owned, GameCube, and I had like Call of Duty Finest Hour, which was lit, and like Metroid and stuff.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, you got some good history, man. Taking it back. Remember, that was a great system. Absolutely. And of course, this week, what have the Lords been playing? We'll start with Lord Addict. What's been on the radar this week as far as what your games playing?
Actually, for once, I'm going to come in here and tell you guys I have not played Halo Wars 2.
Wow.
And then lie and say, yeah, I have been playing Halo Wars 2. No, I mean, I've been playing... I kind of missed the Destiny 2 beta, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know why, but I was really getting down on that multiplayer, but we'll get into that later. I've been playing a lot of Fable Fortune and some games me and Kid have been playing on Steam. I can't really talk into that a whole lot. But besides that, I've been having a decent week on games. So
Nice. Oh, real quick before I pass it over, Lord Kackis, the chat wants to know, first of all, how old are you? Because a lot of them are saying GameCube was their first system.
I'm 24, so
nice.
Like there was people earlier than me. I remember like going to a friend's house and playing on maybe it was a GameCube. I remember going to a friend's house and like playing nonstop that Pokemon game where you could it was like you could take pictures of Pokemon, like Pokemon Safari.
Oh yeah, Safari Snap.
Absolutely.
Like that, I think what a dumb game. Like you just go around taking pictures of Pokemon. That was the game. You don't even get to battle them.
You know what's funny?
That's so fun.
That's the most requested game to bring back from the N64 era.
Dude, that game was sweet. I remember that.
Absolutely.
Also, best. I just got to point this out. Shout out quickly. Best, like movie franchise game ever was Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King on the GameCube.
The co-op experience.
Oh my goodness.
Nice. All right. Listen. Everyone's very proud. They like, look at the young buck dominating these YouTube streams. They're very proud of you right now, Lord Kackis. They're loving you right now. But we're gonna get on also as far as what else the Lord's been playing. So, Lord Sovereign, what you been touching this week?
Finally been getting into some Splatoon 2.
Nice.
Yeah, playing some of the single player campaign. When I'm at work, my Wi-Fi sucks, so I can't really get on and play online. But I'd love to play some Salmon Run, and I haven't been able to do it yet. I think it's stupid that they limit it, and they just need to throw it in, and this is kind of ridiculous. But you know, it's Nintendo. And then exactly, and then actually touching the pile of shame. I went back and started playing some Far Cry 3. Actually,
Wow.
So I had never played Far Cry 3, and I'm the Ubisoft guy, and for whatever reason, I never just sat down to play it. And I'm probably 10 hours in, and it's kind of that crack. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Great game, no doubt.
Yeah.
And Lord King, what have you been playing this week?
I've been trying to break away from my Xbox, so I've been down in the man cave. Yeah, my pile of shame, my PlayStation 4 games. Stepped away from the VR, and I got into Call of Duty. Wow, I mean, all the stuff that people was talking about how bad Call of Duty was. I just took it out the wrapper. I brought it, when I got it when it came out. The game looks great in HDR, beautiful, runs smooth, plays fantastic. Storyline is so good that you got Conor McGregor in it. You got Jon Snow in it. I mean, you got Chuck Bodak in it. You have so many people and there's so many actors with their faces and their likenesses, and it feels just like a big budget movie. It's a great game. I'm not gonna front. I listened to what everybody was saying, like how it sucked and Battlefield was so much better. Okay, yeah. Isolated, alone. The game is beautiful, runs smoothly, plays great. I love it. I can't say too much about it. So.
Nice, cool. And for me, it's just been a fun week. I've been trying to get the backlog done. Obviously, like Lord Attic had said, the Destiny 2 beta. Oh man, I had to control my urges and not play it as much because I really was getting into the PvP. So I've been actually working on my backlog. I've been starting my Telltale games. I actually started The Walking Dead, the new season. Been touching that a little bit. We got a little Tekken 7 in this week with the crew, with the rest of the Lord.
You in Titanfall last night.
Free weekend in Titanfall. I dusted it off. Shout out to Lord Demon. They asked me to do the Frontier Defense, which is kind of like a horde mode, which just dropped. It's a lot of fun, y'all. I mean, for those who are on the fence with Titanfall, I mean, on Xbox, there's a free play weekend. I don't know if it's as well as PlayStation. Lord Sav, help me out. I'm not sure. But
I'm not actually sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is, but I know Xbox for sure has a free play weekend. And let me tell you, I forgot how good that game was. And I'm like, you know what? It brought the fever back. And to your point, Lord King, I can't wait for the when the Xbox One X and stuff like that, and it gets the treatment, so to speak.
Yes,
because
sir.
the game looks phenomenal now. So
yeah,
that's pretty much what it.
The free weekend is on everything, PC, PS4.
Good for them. Good for them because they needed to promote this game. And what I'm hoping happens is kind of like a Rainbow Six Siege resurgence, where remember when Rainbow Six kind of didn't jump out the gate initially with sales and stuff like that. So what I'm hoping is that now this free weekend gets people the fever. They catch on. They actually pick up the game. And it's a great game. It just came out at the wrong time. Obviously, we talked about this.
I think the EA pass, because there's going to be an EA Access soon. So I think that the fact that once it hits EA Access, I think the numbers are going to pick up astronomically from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
For $5 a month or how much you pay for the year for it. I mean, the games for EA Access, Xbox has a gold mine there.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into actually the poll results. So last week's poll results are in, and the people have spoken. The winner of the Xbox One X treatment poll at a close 56% is the Why Wait group. The people have said they don't want to deprive themselves of games like Destiny 2, Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed Origin, and even Forza 7. So those who will wait for November 7th, that group was about 44%, so it wasn't a complete blowout. But the people have spoken, and thanks to over 120 plus people who are participated in that Iron Lord Podcast Twitter poll. And obviously we got a new one cooking up at the end. But real quick, what the Lord's thought about that. People they're not going to wait for the Xbox One X. They're gonna just get those new games.
Well, certain games I'm gonna wait for. it's just gonna happen. I mean, Destiny, I can't wait. I'm just gonna not lie to you and tell you I'm gonna sit back on my back burner and chill out. That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna play the game, and then when it gets to 4K, it's gonna be 4K. But no, those other games, they gonna wait till November 7th. They don't come out until then.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Oh yeah, no, okay.
No, go off. Then I'll ask her.
I think a lot of people just understood it as purchasing. Like if it's there, it's gonna be purchased. Like it'll be sitting in my queue. But and like Lord King said, like Destiny, yeah, nobody's gonna wait on Destiny. Go play Destiny. But everything else, like the single player experiences, yeah, I can wait a week or so to play it on the X. Like so, whether it's purchased or not at that, at point of at the day that it launches, it's another question. But again, that's not a big deal.
Gotcha. Now, look, Kackis, real quick. Now, as far as the Xbox One X, I know right now you're playing. I believe you're playing on PlayStation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, obviously, we know that the PC version and the specs came out, and we know all that, amazing 60 frames, uncapped, all that good stuff. Are you at least tempted to make the jump as far as your content there?
Well, I mean, if it's 60 frames, it can't be 60 frames uncapped. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
He was like, "Oh, duh."
Yeah, no, I'm going to get Destiny 2 on the PC. I've got a good PC set up. I'm 100%. I'm pretty sure to get Destiny 2 on the PC. But I've already pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition on the PlayStation 4 because obviously I can't wait.
A month. A month is still a long time.
To play the game. Like that's devastating for me, right? Like I just can't be like, oh, see you guys in a month. I'll do all my exotic weapon guides then. Like obviously I can't do that. So
first one to the punch. That's who.
Yeah, getting it on the PlayStation is really important, and also it's got the exclusives, which is a thing.
Absolutely.
And then so I'll just rock both. See which one I like better. Once the PC version is out, I suppose like for the first expansion, if I'm really enjoying that, well, that's actually a good question. Like, will they get the expansions at the same time?
Will they get that content? That's the other question because Sony has the deal.
I know they're probably not going to get that exclusive content. I do have a couple questions.
Not the PlayStation.
Yeah, he's talking about are they going to get the expansions at the same time?
Yeah,
which I think they would get the expansions at the same time, but that perception in the Destiny community where that PlayStation is the place to play because of the exclusives. Do you think people are going to choose 30 extra frames over that exclusive content?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It was a little bit of an easier choice between Xbox and PlayStation. Like I understand people got it for the Xbox just because you play with your friends, like
your friends
time,
are.
right?
Absolutely.
Like, friends have the Xbox, you get it on the Xbox. End of story. You don't really care about an exotic because you're playing with your friends. But if you are a Twitch streamer, if you are a YouTuber, getting access to those exotics is a big deal, right? Like people really want to see that content. But yeah, now that the PC it boasts better specs, I don't know. I feel like.
And not to mention Lord
Kackis may be swayed here.
Not to mention,
it seems like he's getting no sleep. That's what it seems like.
To mention,
it's a hard question. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. I'm gonna have to play it on the PC and see how it runs. And
I played it,
like theoretically,
and it's fantastic. And I'm picking it up on PC as well as Xbox.
You can have all the frames you want, but like my raid group is on the PS4, right? And I don't know if I want to get another one on the PC. That's rough. Like,
and plus, it's really hard to maintain two entire different Destiny 2 accounts. Like, it's like Cactus has to choose between do I want to play this raid because PC, for someone who's I'm pretty sure you stream, correct? Cactus, I'm pretty sure you Twitch, so it's definitely easier to Twitch on a PC than it is consoles, like way easier. It's not even comparable. But like then you got that other perspective, like that's still a month of playing it on PlayStation, and people, pretty much a lot of people in the conversation ain't gonna get this, but the people in here, Destiny, a month in Destiny time might as well be 2 years in real life time. So, you're gonna play that for a whole month on console. When you get to PC, you're like, do I really want to start over right now? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's a good decision.
The PC version does come out kind of in a good time in the sense that it comes out kind of in a lull, in the sense that Destiny 2 is going to come out. You're going to, level up, get the exotics. The raid's going to come out, I'm sure. And you're going to have that's all going to happen within likely the first month or so.
Yes.
Or around 2 months even. And then October 24th rolls along. And boom, right when it's right in the point where you've kind of done the content for Destiny 2, especially if you're going pretty hardcore, and then you're waiting for that December expansion to come. So it's kind of like the perfect time to jump onto the PC, get used to that. People are gonna, I'm sure, want to see gameplay and high resolution stuff from that, and so it kind of comes out at a decent time that you can make that switch and then start leveling up your character in that lull.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's a tough decision, like you said. Also, from the standpoint, if, like you said, you see those 60 frames and it's just looking gorgeous and the whole 4K bit, you may have to just run 2 communities there, Lord Kackis.
Maybe.
Double them subscribers, baby. Double them subscribers.
We're gonna get into these topics. Apologize to the chat. Obviously, we started a little late. We had a little technical difficulties, but we got them squared away. But we got some great topics for you guys. We're gonna get right into it. So obviously, it's a huge Destiny 2 news week. We had a lot of information in reference to clans, stuff like that in the Bungie update, and the debut of Ice Ice Baby, the ColdHeart Preorder exclusive. That won't be available in-game until December 5th for those who don't pre-order. So there's been a little controversy in these Destiny streets about these practices. So I want to bring this to the round table. And do we feel that the Lords feel that this is anti-consumer? And I want to start off with the Lord Kackis himself. How do we feel about this whole practice and just about the ColdHeart Preorder exclusive in itself?
Well, it's an interesting question. I don't love making exotic pre-order bonuses. It depends on how you get them, right? Like, it's if it's just randomly in the loot table, and then it's enabled for the people who pre-order the game, I think that's a good way to do it. If you're just outright giving it to people, I think that's a little lame. I think that devalues the exotic a ton. Like, if you go to your postmaster and you just get it, right? The game. So,
walking, grabbing, like, look what I found.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very special.
My money brought me.
It really doesn't feel like an exotic at that point, It just because it's like, I envision that you just go to a certain NPC and basically get it. That could be a way on how that works, which is, again, obviously not great. But of the sense of just having that pre-order bonus, honestly, I don't think it's that bad in the sense that, like, if you're really into, it's kind of weird. Like, the people who are kind of upset are the people who are really into Destiny, and it's like, y'all have already pre-ordered the game. Like, so don't be upset that it's coming December 5th. Like, if you're that concerned about it, just pre-order the game. Like, you already got a chance to play it with the beta. I think that's obviously that sounds it's not perfect. In a perfect world, you wouldn't have any of this crap, but it's just kind of the things we're dealing with. And I'd much rather have a pre-order bonus that you get in December, which is kind of reasonable, whereas the PlayStation bonuses you get, in 2018, which is like way worse by a million miles. So give me a pre-order bonus over a console exclusive bonus any day, frankly.
I feel you. Good valid points. Any of the Lords want to jump in on this?
What's funny is Xbox is going to get both of those. we have access to the pre-order, but guess what? There's still going to be exclusive content as well. So
I was actually surprised the Xbox did get this as an Xbox Destiny player. I was actually like, oh wait, I was like triple reading the fine print, Lord Kackis. I was like, as an Xbox, are we getting it? Is it something that's exclusive?
Is it PlayStation?
Yeah,
oh, it's
so I was happy
cool.
in that respect. But,
it's like the terms and agreements. You got to read them all. Make sure that you ain't.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna give it to you through a storyline. You're gonna have to build a weapon, just same way you had to build a Gallahorn.
That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like it's gonna be how you got the skin for the Gallahorn for the Rise of Iron. You're just gonna go to the postmaster and they're gonna be like, "Hey, look what I found."
I hope not. I hope not.
I hope it's earned.
like Lord Kackis says, it devalues the gun. Work for it, put it as something that you have to do it with a Titan, a Warlock, and a Hunter. Do it in a way that you worked for it, you earned it, but it was available for the pre-order guys. Just do it in that manner, and I think it'll work out.
I just want my swords back, man. I don't even care about that gun.
Nah, that gun looks hot. I'm sorry. I gotta disagree.
I care about every gun in the game.
It's like
the Mr. Freeze gun.
Yes, sir.
Ice baby.
It's kind of different than any other gun in the game. Like the closest type of gun to it is like a fusion rifle.
Right.
Beyond that, I mean, this is a steady stream. So
isn't it made from Armalon as well?
Oh, which is my favorite foundry. Shout out to Armalon.
Yeah.
I like Armalon, but Armalon, I like Armalon, but man, what's the other one again? It's Hockey. That's
Soros.
My favorite one. Hockey is my favorite.
Really? Okay. Not even the smooth, sleek design of Suros doesn't sway me.
I like Suros, but like I feel like the exotic Suros kind of like I was so used to that gun. By the time they actually started making faction guns, it took a hit, and like oh, this is cool. Well, I've had this gun for like ever. Now you just made an auto rifle version of it, a post rifle version of it.
But Lord Sovereign, you were saying what's so different about the gun again? You were going into extreme detail.
Because it's closest in kind of the way it functions to like a fusion rifle, which kind of takes a minute to charge up, and then you like shoot off a bolt. This is in terms of function, it's a steady stream. So it's like the laser, like the what's it called?
Yeah, you don't have to charge it up. You just shoot it, and it's just a laser beam. Like it's
just
constant laser beam.
Now, who thinks Bungie isn't gonna mess this gun up on launch? And it's gonna it's gonna be like that scene in Batman where he's just shooting like a whole line of people and they're freezing.
Listen, it will be an interesting gun to balance. Want to see how they do that. But I think the concept's cool.
Because when the developers were talking about it, like the guy in the reveal video, which I was surprised that in a video that early just announced the gun, he mentioned, he's like, yeah, this is our only what's called a trace rifle with that laser beam, that constant laser beam, that when you shoot it, as you shoot it, it starts to get a little bit more and more and more recoil as kind of the balancing factor.
Yes.
Right.
And he even said, he's like, this is a gun that it's our only trace rifle right now, but it's a gun that we might see made into a gun type later on. And I was like, ooh, that would be a sweet new gun type.
Yeah, that's
if it has an element attached to it, that'll work. If you could get different guns like that and have elements attached to it, I'll get back to the elements.
Have like a Suros version and a Haka version and an Armalon version and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Lord Kackis made a good point. I think that the balancing factor is obviously the longer you hold down on the gun, to shoot, the more recoil it gets, the harder it gets to control. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm just excited too as well that it does. Go ahead, Lord Kackis. I'm sorry.
Well, is that?
All of that.
People say I sound like everybody. Now it's Kackis. Yesterday it was ran off the org. But one of the biggest things that I do really want them to focus on Destiny 2, like probably one of the top things, is I want them to actually make factions, more in depth. Like I don't want them just to be a gun. I want every, a lot of the guns to have a place, a placeholder, a history. It's like, the last word has a lot behind it. I want the factions to be really, I want people in the factions to have like a personality like Cade. Obviously not Cade, but it's like you rock with people for more than just what guns they have.
Right, absolutely. And hopefully, like I said, I mean, according to the devs, and they're saying that they're gonna pack this thing with so much story, we're gonna get sick of it. So hopefully that'll be part of the that whole plan. So back on topic real quick. I just want to know, so everyone is of the thought that this is not anti-consumer. Where are we at with that, with the original?
No, there's been way worse practices of anti-consumer.
I think this is pro-consumer, to be honest with you. Like, you pre-order and we giving you something like extra. This wasn't in the pre-order package. This is something they announced later on. So this is pro-consumer. Now, anti-consumer would be, well, we minused out something that you pre-ordered. What?
I do think that, it is a point that it is a little anti-consumer, but at the end of the day, like, there's other things that's way more anti-consumer we need to worry about than a pre-order gun. Like, come on, like, You know,
if they would have turned around and say that there was 3 other different exotics, one for Best Buy, one for Target.
Lord, don't say that. Don't say that.
No, they had one. Imagine if they did that, but they had one for every element. GameStop had one. Best Buy had one.
Don't say that.
No, don't say that.
Lord Kackis, you in one of your latest videos, you had mentioned that there's also a pre-order bonus as far as a ghost with a kill count. Now, have we determined that that is? I heard game. I don't know what's that. Another.
All right, listen.
Break it down for me.
The trailer that came out was for this UK retailer Game, which is like the UK version of GameStop, and it said very specifically in the trailer, it said exclusive to Game exclusive ghost. Well, it turns out Game doesn't know what exclusive means. It's a trailer. So it's exclusive to everybody who pre-orders, no matter where you pre-order. Like, people were sending me screenshots. And, of course, like, I didn't know. I just reported the information that was out at the time. But then, people were sending me screenshots of, like, if you go to the digital deluxe edition, I think, like, on the PlayStation or on the Xbox, and you look at the pre-order bonuses, it says, like, Kill Tracker Ghost. So it just seems to be everywhere.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Like, it definitely, like, that thing looks sweet where you whip it out and it tells how many kills you got. I remember someone saying in the comments, like, look, there better be some ghosts with other stuff, like you take them out and, like, stuff appears, because otherwise I'm using the kill counter ghost and, like, why would I use another ghost? Why would I use a normal ghost?
Yeah,
that's true.
I think that's one of those things. So, like, I hope there's a way to reset the kill count. Not like have a stationary where you can never reset it, because I feel like certain times you might want that to be at 0.
I mean, at the very start of the game, but I mean, that's
what I was going to say. I don't see the functionality in that.
Well, I mean, some people, I guess, like I'm saying, for like, does it count for PvP and PvE?
Yes.
You whip it out like as if you were to take your ghost out. Like, you press the button.
Oh,
press the button.
Good thing Lord Kackis has a sense of humor.
And it tells there's a little symbol, like the crucible symbol, that tells all, like, the total crucible kills, and then the bottom.
Oh, okay. I thought it was overall kills. PvP.
No, it's
PvE.
crucible and campaign is separated.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
See,
okay,
that makes more sense. Like, the reason I said that is because, like, I feel like some people would want that PvP aspect more than the PvE, and I didn't know that they separated.
Yeah, it's separated.
No, they do separate. So it honestly does seem sweet. Like, I mean, ghosts are so useless in the sense of, like, what they don't actually really do anything. They're just kind of a part of your gear. So the fact that you can, like, hey, I'll check out my kills or whatever, I think it's kind of cool, and I hope more ghosts have that gimmicks like that. I don't know what they would be, but it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I agree. And back to my
shout out to Hot Monkeys loving listening. He put the whip it out right now.
Savages in the chat. Savages. I mean, I agree. I think it's a cool pre-order exclusive, and I'm glad to find out that everyone will get it, including digitally. For me, as far as the whole ColdHeart exclusive thing, I don't think it's anti-consumer. I mean, it's one of those things that, at the end of the day, it's a business. Bungie's in the art of trying to promote this game, and if you're going to pick it up, you're still going to spend that same money. Like Kackis said.
A lot of the times, these people, even like a week after the game is out, they still give you the pre-order. It's not like, a lot of the times these pre-order bonuses is just like after a certain amount of time. I mean, there's still some games that I could still get the pre-order bonus that's still on the store that came out a month and a half ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you do some digging, you could probably find a pre-order code, like, not too difficult.
Yeah. Now, again, like I said, I mean, I feel that this is again not anti-consumer. Like I said, if you're going to pick up the game, you pre-order it, you get said thing. And again, even if you still feel that's anti-consumer, you're so up in arms morally against doing that, you can wait until December 5th, right? and then get the game. Get the exotic normally. So, I was looking at, the comment section and a couple of things, and I thought it was an interesting topic. But before we move on, I actually want to give it back to Lord Addict, because I know he had a question for Lord Kackis in reference to, like, 6s, I believe. So
especially, I felt like this is the perfect week that, you could have came on here, Cactus, because I feel like out of everyone I know on YouTube, because I've been following your channel for a while, I would say that, you know, you're right up there to the people that, you know, I go to, that go-to person for that PvP aspect of Destiny. So
absolutely.
What I want to ask you is 4v4s or 6v6s? Which ones and why?
I mean, I would consider myself more of a PvE guy, to be honest. So it's interesting to hear that. But
shout out, loved it. Yeah,
but I guess I still slay in PvP, so I'll do my best. But I honestly really enjoyed the Destiny 2 beta for PvP. Like, I thought,
yes,
like,
talk
I
about
thought the gunplay was smooth. I really liked how it wasn't so ability spammy.
Yes.
Like, that's
Yep.
that's the thing I hated about, you know, at the end when we're coming to the end of Destiny. That was like the most infuriating thing when, you know, you're pulsing a guy down in mid, some Titan just jumping at you midair, you're killing him. Suddenly you see his arm, you know, wiggle, and you're like, it's over, and you just see that fusion rifle stick right on you, and you're like, as you kill him, like you kill him, you gun him down, you have way more gun skill, but he just presses one button,
And he
able to throw that fusion grenade, you're done. So that, like, it took away from a lot of gun skill, and that's like, for me, I have a ton of gun skill in games. Like, dude, when I go into Battlefield 4, I got like 70 and 10. It's absurd. Battlefield 1. When I go into Call of Duty, I do really well as well, and it's because I have really good gun skill. Like, I can gun people down, like I can see them. But it's one of the things, like, we're in Destiny, I still did decent, but I definitely didn't do as well, and it's because there just wasn't as much of a reliance on gun skill. You really need to know when to use your abilities, when to retreat, when to jump around, which is definitely a cool aspect of the game. I don't want to make it sound like it should all be gun skill, but it got to the point near the end there where it's really almost not no reliance on gun skill, but like really limited. It was all about fusion grenades. It was all about, you know, or lightning grenades, and it's like, or the guns you used was stuff like the icebreaker, where it's just like you're in the back of the map, just sitting in the same spot. And it's like, oh my goodness! So going into Destiny 2, I really enjoyed that. I don't like. It's interesting. I don't know 6v6 versus 4v4 because Destiny 2 has only been 4v4. I wish I could have played a 6v6 version of Destiny 2. I think that would be kind of interesting to try, but you know, Destiny 2, where it feels like it's mostly gun skill, and then your abilities complement that. So it's like you can be a skilled player, and then the people who like really know when to use abilities and stuff, they can just like enhance that experience. They can be good, and then knowing when to use abilities makes you even better.
It's like I enjoy 4v4. I do. I cannot begin to describe to you. Like, you can ask Lord Cognito. You know, I'm nice in PvP, even in Destiny 1, but you know, I got to the point where I was so sick and tired of people just running at me with, you know, shoulder charging. I got tired of people only relying on special for everything. I got tired of people slide shotgunning me, tired of Titans, tired of fusion grenades. And it's just like, it doesn't matter if I'm nicer with you with a pulse rifle than you are. It doesn't matter, because there's a lot of times where I can outshoot people with sniper rifles, but it's very far in between, because it wasn't about, you know, I completely agree. It shouldn't all be gunplay, but I feel like at the end of the day, Destiny 1 promoted more spammy stuff than they actually did, you know, skill.
There was times where it promoted gunplay. Like, there was times in year 1 where it was all about gunplay. It was all about primarying people down. And then they kept nerfing primaries like over and over again. And it just got to the point where just things weren't, you know, necessarily balanced properly. I'd have an auto rifle and I would shoot someone in the head, like literally perfect aim, every shot to the head. And they would just get like 2 spazzy body shots and 1 headshot with a pound jump and kill me before I could kill them. And you're like, oh, okay, this is how this is going to work. That seems fair.
Yeah, and it made the PvP, and I will say this, you know, there's a lot of people that would have stayed on Destiny if that PvP would have been a little bit more balanced. And you know, I remember the one when I gave up on Destiny's PvP, and you know, you can ask the other lords in here. I ain't really played PvP in probably a year and a half on Destiny 1. Is when they made that change to Trials of Osiris, where you didn't have special ammo, and I felt like, you know, that really encouraged people, because the grenades were annoying, but it was the snipers, the shotguns. That's what annoyed me the most.
Which is really cool that they actually put it now in a different slot, in a power slot, to kind of not have that abundance of it.
And you know, I enjoy Trials for the first time in weeks. And I was like, this is fun. You're round 2, 3, you still deal with that, that dude that will not shoot with you for primary. He will literally slide shot. They call them, the Titan sliders. So, you
Titan
find
sliders, dude. No, it's shotgun apes, man.
So I enjoyed it, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna put that back in." They're like, "No, what are you doing?" And then after that, I was like, "I'm done with Bungie and their balancing, man. I'm out, and I ain't played it since. I went strictly PvE because I was a very balanced Destiny player, and once they did that change and then they redone it, I was like, they're listening to the people, complaining over what's good for the game. So I'm done."
So overall, 6s versus 4, everyone. Where are we at with this?
I want to say for the 6s, consider how much team shotting is now a thing in Destiny 2 because of the time to kill is so high. Like, it's all about team shotting.
Yes.
I don't know if 6s would, if you consider that, 6s might be like even worse for that. So just consider that.
Gotcha.
And plus,
okay. Good line.
All right, I will go ahead and say this. Okay, I think they should bring a casual playlist for 6v6. Something that's not really. It's like Cactus's last video. It's like there's certain times where you want to go in the Crucible and you ain't trying to play 6 Sinisters.
Yeah, but I think the problem, I agree with that. But I think the problem, and I think that the good thing about 4v4 everywhere is because it ensures balance. Like the problem of having a casual playlist with 6v6 is like, the reason everything's 4v4 is because stuff in trials versus stuff in
I agree
6v6.
with you on that.
Yeah, it was just so different. Like it was just so different, the scope of how they were balanced. And so if they had a casual playlist with 6v6, God knows people are just going to play nothing but that and complain about stuff that's overpowered in that but isn't overpowered in 4v4 and just be all over the forums being like, I can't believe you allowed this in the game, and Bungie's going to nerf it, and then it's going to be even worse in 4v4. So I like the commitment to 4v4 across the board. It makes it easier to balance, I think.
When people went at them, it's like, look, like, I get that, there's people, Anchorman, and then he's always hating on it, so I don't really count his opinion. But
he's in the chat going lit.
So, I get where people are talking.
He's a 6v6 guy. He's a 6v6 guy as
I
well.
get where people are talking about the 6v6. I do. And, to a point, I would like them to have that casual mode to play, but, Cactus made a good point. Like, look, one of the biggest problems we have with balancing in Destiny 1 was they would fix something in PvE, and it would carry it over to PvP and make that busted, or vice versa, and make something completely unreliable in PvE. So, I feel like one of the biggest things that really helps out in PvP, it's that double primary, where you can't have that spamming shotgun, and the fact that you don't have 4 supers running around at all times.
Running around. No, I get what you're saying. Shout out to B-Money in the chat. He was saying 6v6 was nice, though. He said because you could play with more homies and 2 fire teams together. Now it's 1 fire team of 4, and it's just a random pickup. So he has a good point in this sense, in that outside of the raid activity, there's really nothing else to do with 6 people. So
yeah, totally. I don't know why that you can't do patrol with 6 people. Like I see,
thank you, Lord Cax. I was just about to say, I'm so glad you said that. And that was one of the things that really upset me, because I was hoping when we got the information on the new patrol stuff that, I could bring my whole fire team in, man.
What's funny is we know how to get it. We know how to finesse the system to make sure we get more people in there.
But we shouldn't have to do a code to get people into, what was the one?
Up, down, ABBA, start.
Like we were finessing a way to get into that part in Rise of Iron where what was that? Space?
Remember when
it was kind of like where you get the items, the forge,
yes. Yeah, you go in the forge and be like, find people that are low and be like, yo, can you send my friend an invite so we could do these?
Yeah.
And then eventually he promotes your dude. There was a couple times where I seen some really messed up stuff when it comes to that. I seen people ask to get their friend and then say, yo, I can't send my friend an invite. Would you promote me? Then he would kick the dude that sent him the invite and then invite 2 or more people.
Savage.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel you. I want to get Lord Sarv and Lord King, and they've been quiet. As far as the your feeling as far as 6s versus 4. I mean, let's start with Lord Sarv, our Destiny expert.
Well, I'm At this point, I'm a 6v6 guy, and this for a very simple, selfish reason. I suck right now. I'm horrible. So all the more fodder for me to be able to shoot is better for me. Like, you know, because with 4v4, my deficiencies are glaring. You know, so
no doubt.
So in terms of that, definitely, I would like 6v6. It's more akin to what I'm used to with playing Halo. But again, I played a lot of it in the beta, and it was cool. It took some getting used to. Like I said last week, I would, you know, when we're doing just kind of run up into the control point and try to strafe and run around, and that's a Halo thing. That's not a Destiny thing, and I learned very quickly that that's not a good way to go about it. In terms of one thing I want to ask you guys, in terms of what they've said about raids so far, have they said that raids are all raids are definitely going to be 6v6?
They're going to be 6.
Okay. Well, 6v.
6v. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
6ve.
Okay, yeah, because I just was wondering, since they were focusing on the 4v4, if again, like the 14 aspect was
gonna... the raid was 6 people running down like a stairwell. So,
and I ain't gonna lie, man, I'm still a little bit terrified of a raid with Cabal. I'm sorry.
It might not be the Cabal. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Ooh, do we have inside information on Kackis that we want to debut on the ILP?
I mean, I wouldn't say inside information, just information.
Okay. Documented.
Man, watch it be the hives.
Oh, don't say that.
No, it's not gonna be the hive. It's not gonna be the hive.
Thank you.
But it might be the Vex again, to be honest.
Okay.
I would. Yeah, that would make sense. Like, I would be okay with that. I would. Like, I guess a lot of people would be mad about that. Let's be real here. The internet would cry about that. Why is it the Vex?
Yeah, it could. Who knows? I think that there's a huge possibility that we finish off the Cabal in the story. Like, that seems like where else would the story go, right? I feel like the last story mission is you defeating Gaul. It kind of would be a pretty lame ending if you didn't, and then it was like, oh, do the raid. We know a lot of people don't do the raid, so I feel like Bungie wouldn't do that. So there's a good chance that the raid is just something completely separate. They're like, hey, the Cabal were digging around on Nessus trying to find something about the Vex. We found it. Let's go in and investigate another big Vex raid. During the gameplay, the one little tiny thing of gameplay that we've seen of the people running, 6 people running down the stairwell, it looks like it's on Nessus. And also at the very top, there's one of those like pyramid doors, which is exactly akin to, well, first of all, a door that you can see on Nessus that was actually near it was one of the like things you could find if you went off the beaten path in the beta when you did that. But also it's the exact same like pyramid style Vex door that you find in the Vault of Glass several times. So I mean, we've seen very little evidence, but the few evidence, the like tiny evidence, the one clip we have seen is not necessarily pointing to Cabal, although the Cabal definitely have a presence on Nessus. But yeah, if you're expecting a raid to kill Gaul as the final raid boss and to retake the last city, I would stop expecting that, because that makes way more sense as a story mission than as a raid.
It would, and I know a lot of people will probably say, but Oryx was different. It was different. It was exceptions. They explained it.
You killed him in the story.
Yeah, then you had to kill him in his realm. Yeah. So that definitely, and it would make sense. Like, I would like for that to happen, and it turns out that the Vex were they were manipulating the Cabal into attacking the town or something like that.
The Vex are like.
Because
where did some sort of weird end game? I don't even know.
Where did Gaul get the machine to drain the light? That's something.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions I have to ask. And then we also know that obviously he's the leader of that Red Legion, but obviously there's still the Queen and there's still a whole bunch of other hierarchy with that as well. So there's a lot of questions. Legion
seems like some sort of like splinter faction of the Cabal.
Yes.
Pretty much like the Banish off of Halo.
Cabal army. It's just like some jerks that like showed up.
Running road.
And what's funny is he went on and on about your race don't deserve this, and I was like, well, if you want to say you're the person that can defeat them, You had to drain the light to beat them. Like, like don't puff your chest out when you taking their cards away from them.
He's a little cocky. I want to get Lord King, and he didn't get a chance to comment on sixes versus four. So, Lord King, if you're still there,
Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
yeah, I want to get you in on that. Get your feedback.
Well, what I would like Bungie to introduce is Casual Fridays. Casual Fridays will consist of 6v6, just for Friday. For those casual guys, trying to unwind for the weekend, get your friends in, get a little party day going. Good. And it's over on Saturday. The 4v4, I thought it was fantastic in the essence that when I play PvP, I suck. I'm not gonna lie. I got into it. It was all about sticky bombs and supers, and I just was like, oh god. And then somebody got a chance to snipe you from across the board while the other guy did a super behind you, and it was just like, the hell with this. I'm gonna go play Prison of Elders.
Yeah,
where I control the narrative in the Prison of Elders, and I run with my team, and we get it done.
There isn't really quite the experience that you have in any other game that when you hear that hammer, or you hear that super initiation that someone done activated their super, or you walk around a corner to a blade dancer running at you.
No, absolutely. I want you to look.
Yeah, we would do.
I'll let you finish.
We would do the raids every day. We would run the raids 10 times a day because we were able to be in there with our friends. 6 people, let's get it done. We was having such a good time. So Casual Fridays are really work. If you're gonna do it with Iron Banner, I don't know about the Iron Banner guys. I know they're really rabid with it. So you might be like, we won our 6v6 or the 4v4. I was coming in at the top of the leaderboard on some of our matches in 4v4 because, like Lord Kackis said, it was gunplay, baby. It was all about how good you were with your gun. If you ran with a mate, y'all was able to take down a team of 2, and shields get up. You might throw a grenade, but when you saw that you had a grenade, you had to really think, should I throw this right now?
Yeah,
or should I wait for a perfect opportunity?
I agree.
Yeah, so it was more strategy involved with how they balanced it this time. And I like you said, when the beta left, I was like, damn, I really want to play it.
It's a void, man. It was a void. Yeah. And you made good points, Lord King, because shout out to the people who don't know in the chat. Like, Lord King does not even touch PvP, y'all.
Unless it's Iron Banner, and we have to pretty much grab and be like, let's go.
Yeah, we'd have to drag Lord King into some Iron Banner. Like, now when it comes to a raid, strikes, nightfall, he got you. But it was one of those things where it was just like, I would try to get him, and he just, he wouldn't do it. So when we started in the Destiny 2 beta, and I'm like, I see Lord King getting into it. You know what I mean? And the primary gunplay, he's doing his thing. He's on the top of the board.
He's doing nice too.
Like, shout out to Lord Hot Monkey's Lovin'. Yeah, he was pulling me in it too.
Well, exactly. So it was just the abilities, the option to to do something extra. From a balance standpoint, 4s I feel is perfect. I have to admit, it does feel good from what I played. My only concern with if 6s are not there, because at E3 I got a chance to speak to Lord Irk McGurk, and I kind of pressed him, Lord Kackis. I said, look, I understand from a balance standpoint, you guys got knocked it out the park. All I'm saying is, like, it's gonna feel kind of weird when Iron Banner rolls around and there's no 6. So what he said to me in true Bungie marketing speak was that he goes, well, that's what we have to announce at this time. He just basically said 4s will be initially launched. So he didn't rule out the possibility. I don't know
why they wouldn't do like party modes. If everyone wants 6v6 for like fun, that they could have like infection, where it's 12-person infection, like in Halo, or like a gun game style game where you get like a random exotic every kill or whatever.
That would be crazy.
They could make really fun like party game modes in Destiny, and and that's something that may introduce in the future, but also it detracts from. Certainly now they're giving off the vibe of like we were taking ourselves super seriously in PvP, which you don't want to be doing that and be like, or you can play Wackety Wild gun game. It doesn't really make sense. So that's something they may announce in the future. I hope they do, because it's nice to take a little bit break from the sweat fest. But
absolutely, yeah, man. So we're all excited, and when it came
down to it, as much as I hate to say this, Bungie went back to their roots. They're like, we had probably one of the most competitive first-person shooters, and we're going to go back to that 4v4 style that Halo had.
Yeah. And also let's not even, we have to acknowledge their presence in wanting to get more involved with esports. And one of the things, shout out to Lord Kaibox in the chat, is also one of the things that they had to address was that, like, the one-hit kill stickies, all stuff Lord King mentioned, all that kind of spammy.
Oh, dude, if like half the stuff would be banned if they went into official esports, like in Destiny 1. It would be insane.
Like, what can I use? They're like, well, you can use 3 guns. We'll give you the option.
Like when they did the Guardian Con PvP tournament, literally every single person was using a palindrome or an IS Luna by the end of it. Like, I just maybe saw like one pulse rifle, and then one guy was using what's his name? Tier 1 Riot was using a Burning Eye and actually got like a 15 kill streak, so good for him. But everyone else was just doing the same 2 guns, and in a loot-based game when that's happening, something's wrong.
Something's wrong, exactly. So that's the good thing about Forza and balance. But if everyone's got off their topic, we're gonna move on to the next segment. I got Lord Sovereign up, and you want to talk about what's going on in the world of PUBG, Player Battlegrounds. What's going on, Lord Sovereign?
So in the past week or so, there've been two sort of kerfuffles in the world of PUBG. So we'll take these on one at a time. So the first one is the announcement that the Player Unknown made that they were going to be adding loot crates to the game in this next update. Paid loot crates. Well, basically the crates were free, and you would have to pay for keys to open the crates. And obviously the internet, being the internet, kind of jumped at it, basically attacking the fact that he made it clear that, again, they don't want to make this game, the people that love this game and the people that are around this game don't want it to be likened to something like a Team Fortress or other games that have gotten, even Counter-Strike, games that have gotten into the habit of charging for content that many people believe should be free. Right. Now, in this day and age, in trying to release a game on PC and other consoles now, it is, and for a game that they were selling maybe for $30, so it is a paid game. So you should expect the pay model to continue throughout the lifetime of the game. So paying for extra stuff, regardless of what it is, content, just in terms of like cosmetic stuff, it's something you should expect to be paying for. And so the internet at large is saying, no, we don't want this. Player Unknown made it clear that 2 of the crates that were being released, that one of the crates in particular was everything that was collected from that was going towards charity, in addition to setting up a fund for a Gamescom tournament. So it's for basically whoever wins the tournament at Gamescom. And all of these things, what this does is promote the game and give the game a broader audience. Honestly, I feel that it's a ridiculous thing for people who buy and enjoy this game, and at this point have gotten hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of this game, to be mad about something that's A, cosmetic that they don't have to pick up, and B, what is going to add to how the game improves over time, and his ability to maintain the game over time. I mean, I think people have to educate themselves more about what these type of additions to the game allow the game to be in the future, and allow them to support it, 5-10 years down the line.
Let me ask you a question before we bring it to the rest of the roundtable, because I'm still getting my information on this actual topic. So what is it? So basically, these are like crates that drop with cosmetic items? What exactly is going on?
In this update, they have cosmetics that are based on the movie Battle Royale. Okay. That is kind of basic, which is kind of the inspiration for this game. So a lot of there's costumes, right? So the thing is that each crate apparently has only a piece of a costume. So it's not like you're getting an entire wardrobe in one crate, right?
Oh, so you gotta pay that $250.
Right.
And hopefully you get the arms and
Exactly.
that kind of thing. Okay.
Exactly. But the argument against it is, well, you don't have to get this stuff. This is all stuff that if you want, you can invest the time and the money into it. And again, but the argument some people make is like, no, it shouldn't be that way. If we pay X amount of money for the game, everything that comes down the pipeline should be free. And I don't get the games cost way too much to maintain, especially this type of game. It costs way too much to maintain for them to just give you everything. And again, the argument people are making is, well, if this is going to be the case moving forward, that you better make sure you A, stabilize the game, B, make sure everything runs smoothly, C, any under the hood quality of life enhancements come faster and without issue. So it's like they're holding the game to ransom in that regard. Like, well, we'll allow this if you do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, dude, man, like really, like it's one of those things. It's like you need to understand the dynamics of this and how difficult it is to maintain the game. Especially now that has blown up the way it has. You need money coming in. You need money.
Lord King, I'm curious of your feedback on this subject matter.
Well,
let's start with you.
Let's just say it's not nice. It's not nice at all. Because again, we have these individuals super beta testing. You, my friends, are super beta testers for the free. But you are paying us to beta test this broken game. We will fix stuff as we go, and we will ask for your input for free. But you will pay for this stuff that we're going to implement in the game that you already paid for, the Founders Edition. That Founders Edition thing, I'm going to talk about that later in my segment. I hate that word. I hate it. I hate the word because it gives you a sense of entitlement. These kids feel entitled now by saying this, I'm down with this. I'm with y'all. We putting this game together. We're not doing anything. You're playing the game. They're telling you that this content is going to be there. If you choose to purchase said content, purchase said content. If you do not choose to purchase said content and continue to play the game that you've been beta testing for forever, then continue to do so. But these guys are buying a key, right? Because I remember the thing before that had me completely outraged is you pay $10 for this crate and anybody can get it. They found a workaround. We give you the key, right? So you got the key in your pocket. You get to a crate and you open it. Here's where they messed up again. These guys, they gotta be freaking idiots or masterminds, one of the two. But the line is very freaking blurry. You get out of this crate a random item. Now, a random cosmetic item, a piece of clothing. It could be a hat, a shirt, a pair of boots, or pants. But it's random. So you pay $250 for this key, and you ran out there, you got yourself a pair of boots. You said, man, all I need is some pants and a shirt and a hat. I'm good money. You run back out there, you get a pair of boots. Man, I need a pair of pants, a shirt, and a hat. You run back out there, you get a pair of boots. Yo, I just spent $750 and I got 3 pair of boots. Yo, how frustrating that must be for the individual who only has $10 in his PayPal, who really wants to get an outfit to show off to his friends when he do the funky little dance after he kills you and he posts it on YouTube. But he can't because he just got the boots. And he only has $3 left in his daggone PayPal. I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to the model of the stuff that they're doing. And I know this is only empowering more developers to do the same crap. I don't like what they're doing.
I want to jump in and get Lord Kackis on this because, Lord Kackis, refresh my memory. Does this not sound eerily similar to Festival Lost stuff-ish? When it was like, far as like you pay and you get like those random cosmetic items or something like that. Or it was one of those things where maybe the Dawning also had something like that where you could pay and you get random chances at the, like a uniform set, something to that effect.
Look, it all sounds nice and peachy when it's cosmetic only. You don't have to pay all that stuff. But I understand why people would be wary. I mean, literally look at Black Ops 3. Start out cosmetic only. Oh, guys, it's just cosmetics, just gun skins. Bam! Suddenly weapons, right? Overnight, they suddenly introduced full weapons, and now it's brutal. It's a super low chances. You get crypto keys like almost never. It's just brutal RNG system. So you understand why people are like just wary of that, because a lot of game companies, they're doing that. They start out cosmetic only to get people used to the idea.
They insert way into the community.
And then suddenly, you're getting, hey, maybe you'll get one of the items will be a bandolier item or a vest that can hold a little bit more ammo in PUBG when you get a certain gun. And then suddenly, wait a minute, that's a little bit pay to win. But they ease in there, right? They don't just show out the door, hey losers, we're doing pay to win. Obviously they're not gonna do that. They gotta ease
today it's about cosmetics. Tomorrow, $2 for an airstrike.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at Destiny. Start out cosmetic only, and then suddenly you have those suddenly it's like, oh hey, you can get a booster where you get double XP when grinding Vanguard or Crucible or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not cosmetic. That's, I mean, I maintain, and it's surprising how everyone was just so okay with it. That was
you were the first on the front line, LootCrates. I got to give you that. You were the first on the front line.
Dude, that was pay to win. That was undeniably, like in a loot-based game, the fact that you get double experience and get loot twice as often, and good loot too. Like, you get your LDRs at the time and stuff faster. Like that was pay to win. It didn't ruin the game or anything. I'm not arguing that, but it was a little it was a little douchey. It was a little douchey.
Yeah. Shout out to Lord Anchorman in the chat. He's starting trouble. He said, let's point out the elephant in the room that Activision does the bulk of this BS in their AAA sphere.
This is true. That's the truth.
EA has actually been like, for Battlefield, EA's kept it cosmetic only. And for Titanfall 2, all the DLC is free. So EA's actually been pretty good with that
somehow
stuff.
EA's turned their entire image around in like 30 years.
Activision's the one that's really pushing this. But you know what?
They the new EA.
It makes so much money. It like that's the thing. People like, you can bitch about it all you want, but like people are bitching as they're buying $20 worth of COD points.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, oh, I hate this system. But as they're in the mid purchase of more COD points, so it's like. They like the fact that they can still update Black Ops 3 with new weapons. Like they added the AN-94 like last month, and they're still updating this really old Call of Duty game that, like, normally they would have just abandoned this thing, but they're still updating it because the microtransactions make so much money.
Exactly.
Bungie made more money with the Rise of Iron than they did with the initial launch of the dang game. So it's like, it's really, really, like, why would you not do that? If you're Activision, why would you stop doing that? You're losing so much income. So people need to realize that. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business. You can bitch all you want, but if you're still buying the stuff, it's still going to keep going.
Thank you. And I'm glad you made that point, LootCrates, because shout out to B Money in the chat. He's lit right now, saying that the nonsense is what we don't want in gaming, but will always continue as long as people pay. And at the end of the day, this is a business. And as much as people bitch and complain and go on, they're still doing it. You have to vote with your wallet, right? And you say no with your wallet that you're not going to support those practices. But the problem is we go into a game like PUBG, and guess what you see? People running around with those battle royale outfits. So you load up a game like Destiny, and what did you see? Everybody, I saw, shout out to, my guy Neil before God in the clan, but as soon as day one, he had like all the Taken armor when it first debuted.
The thing is, though, also, it's not purely negative, because at the end of the day, look, they get a massive revenue from microtransactions, as we've said. It's not all going to, Cosmo's summer house. That's just not the case, right? It's not even close to the case.
It's not going there, look at.
It's going to the company, and some is going in the pockets of some upper level employees, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, that money, a lot of it, is used to make more and more content. The reason they're able to put on a big event like the Age of Triumph, and even the Dawning was relatively like, it was decent, the strike scoring and all that stuff. And that's all good news. And the April update was fantastic. Like those are all pretty decent content additions. Like I'm sure all of you guys were like pretty happy at the state of the game with the Age of Triumph. You know, like the raids, the weekly raids, featured raids, the armor looked fantastic. There's a bunch of good stuff implemented, and the reason they're able to afford to put that much effort and hire, you're hiring artists to do the armor, and then you have to hire people to make them. I mean, you have to spend a lot of money to get that much content in the game, all for free. And the reason they're able to do that is because of microtransactions. So it is, it's very negative in a lot of aspects, but also at the end of the day, it's positive in the sense that it can result, as long as they're investing the money properly, in more content.
Last point before I pass this to Lord Addict. I definitely agree with that last point. And also, I also agree with it in this standpoint that, yes, sometimes some of these practices can be a little slimy as far as the RNG aspect of it. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer of like, it's my favorite game, I want to support it. I don't want it to go away because I've been around a lot, and Lord King can attest to this, Lord Sovereign can attest, we're the OGs here, that, we've seen studios come and go. Games that we love don't get a sequel, things of that nature. So this is kind of the thing that it's like a necessary evil, because sometimes, you support, and like you said, Lord Kackis, like that can go back into the game for continual support. You know what I mean? So I don't believe that there's always this evil CEO with his feet up with that collection box of your money. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that
someone needs to make a skit about that and put it on YouTube. Just saying.
Absolutely. So I definitely think, that it can go back into a game and continue to support the life of the game and get more content. But real quick, before I pass it to you, I know Outer Heaven's in the chat. He said he got a question for Kackis, so we'll wait on that. But while we're waiting on that, we'll give it to Lord Addict. I want his feedback as far as the PUBG microtransaction stuff that's coming out.
I mean, when it comes to the whole thing, do I think it's right? It's definitely it. I wouldn't say they don't have the right to do it. It is their game. I mean, they could charge that $100 for their game if they want to. But the thing when it comes to it is, if they want to have a lasting game, because first off, the PC crowd is not like the console community. They're not like as much as me and the PC crowd goes at it a lot on my YouTube channel. They do stand up for their ecosystem, and that's the reason Microsoft went over there to their to the Windows 10 was like, yo, we can't charge money for this. Like, they will not have it. There's a reason that stuff like that is done in the PC community only. And it's like, look, like, you might get away with that on the consoles, and to a point they won't even get away with that on the consoles. But let's be real here, like, sooner or later that PC community will turn on you. The moment anything is made that is a little bit better, or even on the same par as PUBG, they will turn on that game. So, if they don't want to look out for the longevity of their game, like, who am I to tell them not to do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And before we move on to the next one, I know that Outer Heaven, he missed the Destiny section, so he had a question for Lord Kackis. He just said, do you think Gaul's armor was made in the lines at E3, but people were thinking it was Vex technology?
That is a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Lord his Kackis, armor, like his white, like armor,
the white pimp suit with cape.
It doesn't like look super vexy, but like, who knows, right? Like,
I do think that machine that's japping that light's vexy though.
There's definitely like an interesting relationship with like all the other enemy factions, right? And it's like, are they working together, or are they stealing from each other, or are they hate each other, or like what's going on there? I think there's some interesting stuff. I have no idea about the armor.
Thanks for the question, Outer Heaven, in the chat. He was waiting all day for you, Lord Kackis. But I want to get back to Soft real quick with the PUBG, because there's a part 2 to this, right, Lord Soft? And we talked about that aspect. So now, what's the part 2 of what's going on with PUBG and on certain platforms?
This is the B-side to this record. So basically, they announced that they had the game up and running on prototype X1X, not final hardware yet, which is a little surprising. But It's still a prototype. And basically they had it running on 100-man servers, and the game was running at somewhere between 30 to 40 frames per second.
30 to 45.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in that range. So obviously the internet, being the internet, jumped at it, and people started talking about, well, the Xbox One X, this is what it's going to be able to do. That's it. It's CPU bound. All sort of valid points, kind of encased in a lot of, you know, fanboy arguments and stuff like that. So basically, these are the facts. The PC game is very CPU bound, and even at this point, high-end graphics card again, the game is still in early access. So even at this point, high-end graphics cards sometimes have trouble keeping steady frame rates at higher frame rates. So the belief now is, the talk now is, okay, the X1X can't do it. It's going to run at 30 because it's kind of programming to the least common denominator. What we know about who's developing the console version, it's like a 5-man team coming out of Spain. It hasn't been indicated whether the console version is being built in the same fashion as the PC version. So we don't necessarily know that it's CPU bound. Again, considering that it's a 5-man team, maybe they don't have the resources to be able to build it again from the ground up and kind of offset some of that load that the CPU has on the PC, offset it differently on a console. Maybe they don't have the resources to be able to do that. So just assuming that it's the same, then the assumption can be made that the game's going to be running at 30 frames per second on consoles across the board. And again, there was arguments over that, because it's like, okay, here we go again, another indicator that the X1X isn't as powerful as they claim that it is. And the truth of the matter is that we've seen this, particularly in these living games, and these games that require, especially for Xbox, they require the player base to be consistent across all versions of the platform. So now with Xbox, we're talking about 3 platforms. We're talking about vanilla Xbox, X1X, S, and then X coming up.
Which would have to go to the lowest common denominator as well sometimes, right?
Exactly. So you're probably looking at a game that's going to be running 30 frames per second on console, just to keep those player bases together. They're not going to want to separate those player bases unless they make some sort of announcement about separating servers and allowing people to create their own servers for X1X and allowing people to play that way and giving those options. In game, I don't see it being anything more than that. So again, and again, the internet maybe justly, maybe unjustly jumped at at being able to say, look, once again, pigeonholed themselves with this true 4K and touting all of this. They put themselves in a position where they have to make a concession to achieve frame rates or achieve resolution, whatever. Every time something has to be conceded, they put themselves under the microscope and allow themselves to be scrutinized because of this narrative that they chose to the
4K narrative, which is everything's going to be 4K. Exactly. Right? Gotcha. So this go ahead, Losak. I'm sorry, finish up.
Yeah, so that's basically the essence of it. The internet going to work on basically something that at this point is still speculation. Exactly.
Got you. Any Lords want to jump in on this real quick as far as PUBG?
Just going real quick. It's not even going to take too long. Very precision. Like he said, 5 people making the game, right? Putting the game together. 5 people threw the game on the Xbox. No optimization, nothing. It was running from 30 frames per second to 45 frames per second. That's fantastic. That sounds great. Was it native 4K? Was it regular 4K? Was it checkerboard 4K? What the hell it was? We don't know. But what we do know is this, that like Lord Sovereign said, is they're going to cater to the least common denominator, which is vanilla Xbox. All right. So now that we know this, we can honestly say that we believe that it's going to be a lock 30 frames per second. Why? For parity across the board. So when I play you don't feel slighted. No one feels slighted. It just run at a higher resolution and a whole lot more smoother. We won't get any dips. It a rock solid 30 frames per second. I believe the game is going to be that. I didn't expect it to be anything else other than that.
Gotcha. Lord Addict, where you at with this PUBG? 30 frames per second, Xbox One X, 30 to 45 frames per second. Lord King always corrects me.
I think it's definitely going to preview program now, but
Oh Lord.
This
Here we
guy
go.
is
Next
crazy.
topic.
You know
Save it
what?
for
I'm gonna
next
bust my
topic.
gun at him. No, I'm gonna bust my gun at him right now. I'm not even gonna sit here and take this. I'm not even gonna sit there and take this, Dale.
you know, to be honest
got
with
the
you,
nice
I
little
wasn't
fold.
even aiming that at you.
Okay,
Oh,
but I took the collateral, and I'm gonna absorb it. I'm gonna absorb it. And I'm gonna redirect it like Havoc
Save
right
it
back at you. We don't know this.
Save it for the next topic.
All right, but so you know what it comes down to it. I haven't played this on PC, so I don't really know if like 60 frames is like a deal breaker. Like I haven't played it at 60 frames, so I can't really give you an opinion on whether or not like 30 to 40 is going to make the game not played like it should. I mean, I can't.
Yes, it is. It's a deal breaker. If
Okay.
you have a PC
Whoa,
game, it's not
Kackis
running,
going in.
what are you doing?
See, did I not tell you yesterday when we were talking about this topic? I was like, Cactus was probably gonna like that topic. I'm sure he plays
if
this
you
on
have PC
PC.
Master Race and you're not running 60, like you're a console scrub. You're not doing it right.
Did you hear that premium PC Master Race
I'm
talk?
just
I
telling you
love
the
it.
truth. I'm
I
just telling you
love
the
it.
truth.
I love it.
I love it.
The PC community, like, it's 60 frames per second or get out. Like, that's min. That is
Look,
minimum.
Kackis, you
Like,
may have
most
been
people are running like hundreds.
Lord Addict just now. I'm just kidding. But
I don't. I've never ever went out and said that frame rates. Actually, to be honest, I've always said I don't know why consoles are pushing 4K when we don't hit 60. I've said that from the start.
I agree.
I felt like I'm telling you, this might be a little bit off topic, but I feel like resolution this generation has ruined the entire console progression to the future. People are worried more about if 4K is on the screen and not how the gameplay itself feels.
I got you. Lord Kackis, you were talking that
yeah, here we go.
Master Race talk, man.
I
hear you. What's going on?
Dude, that's just a fact. Like, if the PC community sees that, consoles can only reach 30, they're gonna be like, well, that's not good. Like getting to 60 or above frame rates is a big deal for PC players. Like, that is 100% a big deal. And that's all I was saying. It is very important to them.
Absolutely. I feel what you're saying. Now, in reference to your opinion on this whole PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, the Xbox One X specifically.
You guys pretty much said it all. It's like, they came out swinging. It looked good in their press conference when they announced it, but it's like, can't even run greatest stats. Obviously, something's wrong. Or again, they're limiting it on purpose because you don't want 60 on the Xbox One X and 30 on the Xbox One. It's just not going to be even then. It's complicated. I'm sure Xbox at the end of the day though is just happy to get PUBG, and it's gonna sell if it's 30 or 60.
Absolutely.
Just all the console equipment.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge exclusive, and I'm gonna jump in real quick too. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where this narrative of 4K can kind of bite them. And shout out to Lord Kaibatsu in the chat. I agree with him. I think native 1080p 60 frames should be standard, not 4K. 4K should be an option. And the other thing, to the point though, I've been hearing you guys talk about the whole parity between lowest common denominator being the Xbox One, the OG one, versus the X. And Mikey Barr actually came out and made a statement that they would not force parity, which I thought was interesting. This was during the whole Destiny 2 debacle. No one knew it was going to be 30 frames per second on console at that time. And basically, they threw it back to the developers, saying the developers have the ability to make those changes, but whatever the max setting could be on the Xbox One X, that they would match it. So I thought that was interesting that they kind of got in front of that. But it would be kind of weird to segment the community also, right? You would have, let's just say hypothetically PUBG could hit 60 frames per second. Is that group going to be in a separate group of Azure cloud servers versus, Xbox One S guys who can just do 30 frames per second? So it's interesting. I think it's one of those things that you know, they kind of put themselves in a position by pushing a narrative constantly of 4K, and a lot of this stuff, you know, as far as frames per second, seems to be CPU bound, you know. And as we know, the Xbox One X CPU, you know, right now is kind of like a hyped up version, you know, of the initial one. It's not like it's not Ryzen. And what I'm seeing is, unfortunately, sometimes this might be, I hope I'm wrong, it might be the Achilles heel as far as why we're not seeing a lot of 60 frames per second 4K titles on the Xbox One X. That's what I got on it. But I'm actually going to move on. And Lord King, you're up next to the round table as far as Fortnite, the game that dropped in the preview program. What was yours?
All right, so I was watching YouTube the other day, probably like a week ago, and they were like, you know, people were playing Fortnite, and then I saw on my Twitter feed, somebody was like, "Oh, Fortnite is incredible." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's the game I wanted to play when we was at." I said, "Wow, it's out!" Oh man, they didn't even say anything; they just dropped. So I ran into the store, click, click, click. So I'm looking at the bundles, and the bundles is like lowest end is like $49, and then the highest end is $149. And I kept saying Founders Edition, Founders Edition, Founders Edition. So I said, okay, let me see the game description. What I'm getting for $149. Being a premium gamer, let me know what I'm gonna get, baby.
No doubt.
So then I'm looking, and it's a preview program. So. You know my nose just went up.
Put it right back down on the shelf.
Yeah, listen, my eyebrow went up and my nose went up like I smell something fishy here. So in the description, it says nothing of what you get for $149. So I said, well, what the hell? So you mean to tell me if I purchase this game at $49.95 and I purchased the game at $149.95, I'm getting the same level of content, sir? Well, yes, sir. The color of your Founders Pack is different. Well, what does the color get me, sir? Gets you absolutely nothing. It gives you a chance to play our beta that we threw in the preview program. Now, I went back and watched more video on YouTube. I said, wait a second, this
is actually worse than the preview program.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. So I'm watching, and the guy's like, the game is utterly broken, but it plays beautifully at some points where it's better. I said, what? Wait, so you mean to tell me I'm going to pay for this and it's broken? Yes, you are. But here's the kicker, sir. Next year when the game is absolutely released, it's going to be free to play.
Yes, what? That's the key.
Wait. So you mean to tell me I'm paying you now to play a broken game in your preview program that next year is going to be released to the masses for free? Yes, sir.
Free to play in 2018. That is
with a straight face.
Marketing.
Yeah. I want you to jump in this, please, Lord Kackis, because I am livid. I'm
going to jump in and say that makes no sense, and then jump back out.
That was no parts of this argument.
I am completely livid in the fact that they told you to pay to play this broken game, which is going to be for free later.
I don't get it, and I gotta jump in.
Yes, sir.
This is one of those things I couldn't. But when you told me about this, Lord King, I'm like, he's got to be exaggerating. He's just hating on the preview. There's no way, right? I'm literally pulled up right now. I have my Xbox pulled up, and I'm looking at Fortnite, the $149 version. Xbox logo currently in early access, aka preview, free to play in 2018. The limited edition Founders Pack include the only thing that I'm seeing that different from the other ones, it's basically 2 extra standard editions for friends.
That's all they pretty much do. They're like, you know what? We have a I think they do give you a little bit of things, but they're like,
there's things in there.
Yeah, but they're like, you know what we can do? If you buy our big package, the stuff they usually give you big statues for and stuff. You know what we're gonna do? We're going to give you 3 copies of the game that's going to be free to play next year.
Shout out to Lord Inferno in the chat. But it's like, the thing that also blew my mind with this was that I've never seen a game say, by the way, when you purchase this deluxe edition, we're gonna give you 2 copies of the standard edition for friends. So on my buying multiple copies for my friends with 149.
I do.
Yes, you are.
I do feel like some games should take that pool and, like, you know, maybe for a little extra than your standard, like, you know, $100 you get 2 copies of the game, and, you know, they'll take a little bit dip, but I feel like they'll get more engagement in some of these games, like Titanfall. I do feel like some games could encourage that kind of adoption, but the fact that this game is a free to play in a year is ridiculous.
This is what I'm saying. You're paying to have your friends play with you on a free game.
Well, it's a free-to-play game in 2018.
See, if it wasn't a free-to-play game, I could understand this. Like, you know, like that is a pretty good incentive. Like, you know, you pay a little bit extra, and, you know, for the dude that literally was like, no, I don't care. Fortnite is trash. You're like, here you go, because a lot of people ain't going to deny a free game. So I can understand that perspective. But the fact that you're charging, and I don't even think this is technically a preview program game. Is it under the actual? Yeah. Is it under the actual program?
Currently, early. I'm looking at it right now. Currently in early access, then right next to it, but free to play in 2018.
I just
Why would I not wait?
I just don't understand. Like, what it is, you know, it's gamers in general. We have problems waiting for stuff. I mean, if we were just saying, you know, a couple minutes ago that none of us are waiting for Destiny, and that, you know, a lot of people that's really interested in Fortnite, they're not waiting 6 months to a year to play this.
I'm desperately wanting to play this game. But I will not
see. But that's very few people that
spend,
you know,
149 or 49.
Just buy one game for 49.
No, I won't. No. See, Lord Kackis, I won't. If you're telling me
something, man,
right?
If
you're telling me next year it's free, like my level of patience is fantastic.
Lord Saul, where are you at with this, man?
You guys always hear me talk about optics and how important it is, and the optics behind this are so bad for a number of reasons. I think, to me, the most egregious thing about this is specifically this. This game was announced in 2011 by Epic Games. Epic Games, the game. This is. Cliffy B announced this game.
I do want to point out that, you know, Lord Anchorman says, I waited 5 years for Fortnite. I could wait another 6 months.
No, exactly. You waited 6 years, damn near 7 years for Fortnite. It wasn't 5.
Yeah. And Lord Inferno has a good point in chat. He was like, let's just say it was 20 at launch. Then you get people excited. You know what I'm saying? He said he even want to play 40 for early access, but I did 50 for I mean, sorry, it's
like this.
It's screaming, we don't have money, we need money to finish the game. And what makes it more egregious to me is, like, you've been working on this game for 7 years. And it's not like this is Epic Games that made it. At this point, Epic had gone solo, had gone independent, but they had money. It's not like they didn't have money. So, you know, somewhere along the narrative of this game, it was either scrapped and started again, because if you remember, it was announced and then it disappeared off the face of the planet, and came back looking somewhat different than it did when it was initially announced. It screams, we don't have the money to finish the game. Here, pay for your friends to play. Like,
and I do.
He's like, we'll get one sucker.
Put your hands up.
Everybody else. Exactly.
I do agree with Lord Inferno. Like, this game looks good. It does. It looks amazing. It looks fun. But, like, you know, it's what we were talking about, you know, the whole promoting, you know, cosmetic items, you know, a developer / publisher inching their way into their community to see what can we get away with. And, you know, and that's not necessarily what they can get away with on their community. Like, if you see this developer do this and they're like, yo, like, they literally just sold a game that's free to play next year. Let's do this. Like, you know, it's bad for the industry going forward.
Yes.
Let me throw this back to Lord King's point real quick. With as far as preview program, now, Lord Kackis, are you familiar with the Xbox preview program and early access and this whole bit? Because there's been a little controversy going on about that. Are you familiar with the program itself?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Now, Lord King fundamentally has an issue with it. I'm gonna give it back. So, Lord King, what's your
That's an
main
understatement.
with preview program? Because this is basically where this is kind of your foundation from this, correct?
Yes. My problem with the preview program is they're charging people to play these broken games, and they're asking for feedback, and you're a glorified beta tester that they pay people to do this. They actually have research and development teams that actually do this. They actually go out and hire people and test for bugs and do all this great stuff that we are now paying for. They found a lane to put these individuals in, and they said, well, listen, you know, when you pay for this game now, on launch of the game, you're going to have it for free. All right, that sounds good. But then these guys go around and charge the game at $30 now, and then when the game releases, charges it to the masses for $60. Again, I'm fundamentally against gouging the community and treating these people that are eager to play your game as sheep and cattle. And this is exactly what they're turning out to be. They're handing over money to play a broken game to get feedback on that these guys is going to make millions of dollars off of. At the very least, when the game is released, you're refunded back your $30 because the game made it to market.
Right.
They're not.
Now, let me ask you this question, which has always been the counterpoint that I hear for people who are fans of the preview program, that they saying that, you know, if they put the commitment early, let's say for example, let's use the classic example, which is Ark. Shout out to Lord Dizzy. You know, he's a big Ark guy, you know, and that they paid the $30 and, you know, with an early commitment to the project. Right. And now that it's kind of come to fruition, and it's a retail price of $60, they were rewarded by paying, you know, the $30 early and getting it at a cheaper price. Even that doesn't sway you, Lord King, at all as an incentive to back a game or back a studio that may not have the resources like a AAA studio, so to speak?
Not at all, because the words that you use were entitlement words that I thought Lord Dizzy was a developer, the way he was talking about the game.
Well, you know he loves Ark.
No, I'm talking about in the sense of the entitlement factor. I was there from the ground up. The suggestions that I put in help cultivate the game that you're getting now. So now the entitlement factor is there with no compensation for said gamer. You know, he worked. He actually put the work in. Lord Dizzy actually puts in hundreds of hours in this game. So you don't think his data is worth? It's worth.
Absolutely, but his argument to you would be it's worth because now that the game has reached full release, it will be $60 and he only paid $30 and now he has the game. That's what the general argument is.
Except for the DLC that he paid for.
Well, I can't defend that.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, how far are they going to dig in your pockets to have you work for free? And I see the preview program as a farming system for broken games to get it to market and to get research and development paid for by the sheep to push the game to market.
The chat is agreeing with you. Lord Inferno saying that, you know, you have a point, quality assurance positions are paid $40,000 for testing. So they just hire part-time QA for $30.
What Cactus?
To play devil's advocate, you wouldn't have as many games or the scope of games without these kind of programs, because there's no way some developer out of nowhere, some tiny developer could make a game as big as Ark. There's no way if they were doing it the traditional route that was the route only a few years ago, where they just had to pay for their quality assurance people. The fact that the reason we're getting these like relatively indie games that are pretty big in scope and even like comparable to AAAs is because they can fund the development through early access. So that's the positive for it. You're getting like way more games than you otherwise would, and bigger games than you otherwise would, because these smaller developers are able to fund their own games development with early access. Without it, your only indie games would be, you know, Super Meat Boy style games like those, like or
okay,
so that style of games.
Your opinion of it is, instead of hiring paid contractors, hired unpaid laborers to build a house. This is exactly what the basics of it is, because these are unskilled laborers who are paying to play this broken game, opposed for them to go out and hire the researcher and develop. And I know the money is not there. And what you're saying is that this game will never make it to market.
I don't know. Your point of they should go and hire people, but my point is, they
don't have money.
They can't afford it. So it's either,
exactly
it's like, so either the game wouldn't be able to exist. I'm saying that's my point. Ark would not be able to exist potentially if they tried to do it the traditional route. So yeah, I agree with you that a lot of the times it's unfortunate. You have these developers that do a lot of these douchey practices, like Ark, with charging for DLC and then jacking up
before the game released.
There's definitely wrong ways you can do it, but there's been a couple of cases where it has been the right way. And you're, at the end of the day, the consumer, it's up to you. You know what you're getting into. They'd say on the box, this is early access, this is going to be buggy. So if you go in there and you're like, oh my gosh, the early access game I bought is buggy. Well, it's like, well, you ignored the 17 messages that said it was going to be buggy on the way in. This is your own damn fault. So I think that it's not that
attic preview program.
It can be done. It can be done well. I think it can be done well.
I'm definitely. I've always been the for the preview program, regardless. What developers misuse the program. And the Ark thing is, I think that's one of the very few scenarios that's actually been used, besides this Fortnite issue, that the preview program helps the industry more than it hurts it. And
at the end of the day, you just get more games from it. I don't have to participate. I'm gonna get more games from it.
You vote. The chat just said you vote with your wallet. Yeah, if you want to support it, support it. But continue, Lord Alec, I'm sorry.
Look at games like Ark. Huge following, a very passionate following. I've always said Destiny has that hardcore following that very few games have, and Ark is one of those games that has that passionate following. People that spend thousands of hours on this individual games, that wouldn't have been around. So, that would not have been there without preview. Could they have done it a little bit differently? Yeah, they should have worked on the stability of the game. But, I feel like for the most part, they're like, they were going off with the feedback wanted. They're like, we want different maps. And it's like, if you want us to, do different maps, we're going to have to charge for it. I think it would have been a little bit different if they waited until after the game was launched before they did that. That's subjective. Some people would, we want Scorched. We didn't want we wanted you to work on newer content like that. So, that's subjective. But, look how many games we've gotten from the preview program. Sheltered, even Pug, the game we were just talking about. That's in preview on PC, is it not?
Yeah, this is true. So, my thing is so selfish, to be honest with you. My whole aspect behind the preview program is based behind a bet. So I'm so selfish about it. I want the preview program abolished before my bet, comes to fruition. I do not want that game to hit the preview program at all.
Lord Frodo has a question for you real quick.
Yes.
He said, if you could get a head start on Destiny 2 by paying $30 now in exchange for feedback, he said, don't tell me that my man Lord King wouldn't go for that.
You know what he's saying is absolutely true. And listen, I will pay the whole $60. You can take my pre-order money right now and give me the game. I'm not even gonna say it and lie to you. But then again, it boils down to you pay with your wallet for what you want to play. If you can get to play something early access, like I said, I really wanted to play Fortnite. They really turned me away when they said, now, if they told me that the game was coming out next year and it would be a regularly $60 price, yeah, I'll beta test your game. I would be part of this preview.
But it's the free-to-play aspect.
Yeah,
that is definitely where I agree. I feel like the free-to-play is a different, that's very, when it comes to
almost
preview,
like, how dare you?
When it comes to preview programs, that doesn't happen a lot. Like scenarios like that almost never happen, where it goes from paying something, but I don't know. Then again, I haven't really looked into the situation. I don't really know what the free stuff you get. Like, obviously it's not free; you pay for it.
I'm looking at it right now. It's legendary weapons, XP boosts, packs, exclusive founder packs, things of that nature.
I mean, pretty much what they're probably doing is they're like, look, you pay is it 89 for one key and 150 for two. So they're like, if you get the regular expansion, they're like, we're pretty much just giving you at a discounted rate what these things would cost in the free-to-play model. So you know, it's like I'm playing Fable Fortune. It's a preview program. It's like for the $11 founder pack, well, it's 15, but they give you a discount when it first came out. You get 30 packs, but then if you look how much the packs in the actual store cost, it's like for that amount of packs, it's like $20. So you know they try to get you in the initial, you know, the revenue to keep the game flowing, to keep, you know, updating the game. They try to, and you know, it's like Cactus say, you know, you got to play that devil's advocate. That, you know, I can understand to their concept, but what my issue is like, you know, if it was set in stone, if we only do this and no one else tries, I'd be okay with it. But I feel like maybe the industry might try to adopt that and do a lot more.
That they should take the Gigantic model, that game Gigantic that was in the preview program. I downloaded it. It was for free. I played the game. They took my data, I'm pretty sure. The game was released. What I didn't like was the game was released, and it's a really good game. It's a very good game. But it was no fanfare for the release of the game that made it from the preview program to an actual release. And it's a very, very good game. If you into that the PvP type of game where you have different cartoon characters and the art style is very reminiscent of Overwatch. The characters is very well developed, like in an Overwatch style. But this game is not being promoted. It was promoted at one E3 before. I played it in the preview program. It was free. And if they said now, yo, give me $15 or whatever to play, once it made it to market, of course I would have did so. And I was allowed to play the game for free. I think the preview program should be for free. And then if the game is released and you wasn't part of the preview program, then pay money for it or whatever.
Listen, we're gonna move this out, and we're beating this thing to death.
Yes, sir.
Basically, my feelings on it. All the lords made great points, including Lord Kackis. I mean, it's one of those things. I understand the point with the smaller studios. I understand that they need, things as far as they don't have the resources and stuff like that. So I get it. It's one, and ultimately it comes down to you vote with your wallet. If you don't want to support the game, or you don't think it's something that you'll be interested in, or you think it's anti-consumer, don't do it. If you like the project, you like the art style, where it's going, by all means plunk your cash down. If you want to stop the process, those practices, then you can't buy it. So let's move on. And I want to get this over to Lord Addict. He's got to talk about season passes and the way to handle them. So Lord Addict, it's on you.
I had a more in-depth topic, but we're going a little bit longer than we normally do. So I'm going to make it real close. Just a simple topic. So obviously with season passes, there's the right way to do them and there's the wrong way to do them. And a lot of people speculate if you buy a season pass to a game, like let's say Destiny, and XCOM is another one that they've recently brought up, that you should get every content that's ever released for that. So I just want to go around and ask you guys what's a good example, and do you think that that statement should be true? Like for instance, the season pass for Destiny 1, where after everything with the first 2 expansions you had to pay separately for it. Do you think they should have been part of the season pass, or do you think that there should be another season pass? Because if I remember correctly, after the second one they didn't offer another season pass. You had to pay for them individually. So if I were, I'll go first since it's my topic. There's games like, Halo Wars 2, if people know I'm a huge advocate about
Great example of season pass.
They have 6 months of constant content, Then you have on the opposite side of, as much as I go at Bethesda, where, they feel like we're going to give you a season pass and give you huge amounts of content every 3 or 4 months. And what kind of, because a lot of people have problems with the way season passes work in this industry right now. What is a way that you think you would do it if you were in charge of that aspect in the gaming industry?
Let's get Lord Kackis in on this as far as season passes and his whole. I'm curious about his whole feel on that and the right way, the wrong way to do it.
Well, I mean, it is people forget it's a seasons pass and not a forever pass. So like something like Destiny, they're pretty clear. It was like
it just says pass, first 2 expansions. That's all.
You'll get the Dark Below and you'll get the House of Wolves. I don't know why everyone was like so shocked they didn't get a 3rd expansion that wasn't mentioned whatsoever when they bought the seasons pass. So like I think at that point you're being a little bit unreasonable. It's like dude, it was pretty clear what the season pass was. It was the 2 expansions at a discounted price. Now, of course, the good thing is like, honestly, for someone like me and like even looking at Destiny 2, I'm all for the season's pass. I get both expansions. I already 100% know I'm going to get those 2 expansions. Like I there's no way I'm not going to get them. So I just get them cheaper. So I'm good to go. At the same time, the bad part is like you're putting a lot of faith potentially in a developer that sometimes you don't know. Like if you're just starting Destiny, it's like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm not going to like this game by the time the first expansion rolls around, and or I'm not going to be playing it, or I'm going to be playing a different game. So that's why seasons passes are even invented, is they want to lock you in. They want to get your money now because there's a chance that when the first expansion comes, guess what? You're into Call of Duty World War II. You don't care about Destiny anymore. Well, you've already bought the season's pass. So that's the point of it. But again, if you're really invested in a game, like, if you're a huge Destiny fan, you're getting it cheaper. Like, it's a good deal for you. Yeah, there's season passes that have gone wrong. There's season passes that have gone. I think like the first one that I was like, oh, this is a good season pass was the Battlefield Premium.
Yeah, Premium is a good. It's a lot of content for a solid price.
You got a ton of content. It was the price of like a whole nother game, but you got a bunch of expansions, new weapons in a lot of those expansions, priority and in queues and stuff, and a couple other things. And no, that was done well. And it was another thing where, I mean, well, it's interesting because Battlefield 1, like I got premium for Battlefield 1 because I legitimately enjoy the game, but they're taking their sweet time with those expansions, and the next expansion for the Name of the Tsar is coming out in September. Well, guess what also comes out in September? Destiny freaking 2. So it's like, am I really going to be killing on Battlefield 1? Not really. So I'm definitely going to play it, but that's a pretty interesting aspect of like, did I just overpay? I literally might have. Because they're taking so long to get these expansions out. But yeah, at the end of the day, again, it's the choice of the consumer. If you're really into a game and you think you're going to be like there for the long haul, Destiny is a great example. Like if you love Destiny and you're psyched for Destiny 2, that's a good expansion buy. But otherwise, I would say potentially take the $5 hit to buy both separately to make sure you want to buy the expansion. Or another good idea is like, just before the first expansion comes out, if you're still really into the game, then you could buy the season's pass and get the discount.
Fair enough.
I would only endorse someone to pick up a season pass if they know for a fact that they're down with that franchise. Like,
absolutely.
Because you got bad practices. Like, I've been told a lot of people don't like the way Gears of War 4 did it, to where
the chat, shout out to B Money in the chat. He's saying a lot of people saying they don't like the way Forza does it. They're pissed that like they don't like.
Oh God, yeah.
And then look at it from that perspective of like when Fallout 4 first came out, they're like, we're gonna give you a season pass. But we ain't gonna tell you what's on.
We do that's me when I'm up.
Yeah.
Example. look, Kakis, real quick. Can you give me an example of a bad season pass that like disgusted you? That you were like, ugh.
Dude, I've never been that disgusted by a season's pass because I actually read them before I bought
Have you ever been wowed though? Like what?
The one I can kind of remember is Borderlands 2. I think they had their season's pass, and then they had like. I think it was it was just like a level booster. It was like 10 more levels and a couple of other things. Like it wasn't a full expansion, and it was like $5 or something, right? Or $10. Again, it wasn't a full expansion, and then they wanted to charge people extra. I think who like you bought the season pass and you had to pay extra, like a $4.99 extra to get. This thing. Maybe it was like the Mechromancer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something that, they didn't have to do it because it wasn't, technically it wasn't outlined in the season's pass, but it was like a smaller thing, like again, one more character. That was like, okay, you know what? Throw a bone to your season's pass owners. Like this would be the perfect thing to give to your season's pass owners who just spent like $30 saying that they have faith in the developer. It just seemed kind of cheesy.
Pretty much bought your game almost twice.
Yeah. It just it was the exact opposite of what Destiny did with the Taken King, whereas the Taken King was like a massive expansion, like bigger than basically the other two come before. That was very reasonable to say, yeah, no, this is like a little bit beyond the season's pass. This was kind of the opposite, where it was so small. It was like, okay, guys, throw it in. Like you guys are being a little
changed the entire perspective of Destiny, that expansion.
Exactly. Yeah, all right, thanks, okay. I'll keep mine short so we can keep moving. I think for me, I'm a guy that likes season passes. So I mean, if it's a game that I'm really passionate about and I love, I'm gonna commit to it. However, like Lord Addicts you mentioned earlier, like an example of a bad season pass to me was Fallout 4. Because I didn't like the fact that, number one, you didn't tell me what was coming in future content. Like, at least give me a roadmap. An example that I feel does it well was like Division. They told me exactly, you're going to get this, you're going to get Last Stand, you're going to get Survival, you're going to, you don't even have to give me the specific dates. And I believe we went through this before, in a past ILP topic, I don't even have to have the specific date. As long as I have like a quarter or a time frame, summer, that kind of thing.
Lord Cognito, didn't it feel like they were the mob? And they said, just put your money in the bag, and whatever comes your way, you'll be happy that you got it. With Bethesda, you'll love it.
And then with Fallout 4, they're like, you know what? We messed up. $30 wasn't enough.
A perfect example of the opposite of that, again, is with Battlefield. They're like, boom, you're getting these 5 expansions, and they had like concepts for all of them. Like you're gonna get a Russian expansion, you're gonna get this expansion. They're each gonna contain new maps, new weapons, and stuff. Like they're pretty clear. It's like it was still ambiguous. Like you didn't know exactly what you were getting, but you kind of did though. Like you knew the contents of a Battlefield expansion. There wasn't any like weirdness. Whereas with Fallout 4 is like. It's hugely different.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Lord Kaibatsu in the chat. I mean, but that's the whole Fallout 4 thing. It was like, yeah, we ain't gonna tell you what you're gonna get, but if you don't buy it now, we're gonna raise the price.
Double tomorrow, you see?
Like it was. I really felt like I was pressured because I remember what was the price jump? It was like at least
it was $30.
Yeah, it was double.
$30 price jump. Like if you don't buy this season pass, that we're not telling you specifically what's gonna be in it. Just trust us because we're Bethesda. We always make great content.
And to their defense, they always usually make AAA content but we want to see what's in it.
Content. I need to know.
I heard the Fallout 4 DLCs have been kind of underwhelming.
Yes, it has been, including the whole game. Shout out to Light Anchorman. Felt like Fallout 3.5. I like to call Destiny 1.5.
Wow.
let me jump in on the Bethesda thing because to Cognito's point, like absolutely, like Fallout 4 was a horror show when it came to how they handled that, and the DLC was not Fallout 3 caliber DLC. It absolutely was not. And then when you go into the season pass for Doom. Doom was a great single player experience, and the season pass is entirely multiplayer based. Nobody cared about to the point where now they just gave you everything for free. It's like a 60 gigabyte download of multiplayer stuff that nobody wants. But I mean, whatever. They should have had single player DLC for that. Now, to Bethesda's defense, it seems like they're getting it together in that regard now because they just announced the season pass for Wolfenstein: The New Colossus.
Are they telling you what's in it, Lord Sarv? Are we going to know?
Tell you exactly what's in it. What's in it.
Wow. Such a new concept.
I know. So Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, they're giving you 3 separate campaigns, little sideshow campaigns that feature 3 different protagonists. It's not BJ Blazkowicz. It's not BJ Blazkowicz, and it just seems interesting. But they're telling you what it is. It's obvious that they're working on it already because they have the story down. They know what they're gonna do with this. And again, it's something that if you like Wolfenstein, if you like what they've done in the past 2 games, it's something that's gonna be attractive to you. And they haven't really set a release cadence, which is another thing that I like to have with my season passes, that you tell me a roundabout time when it's coming.
Yes, exactly.
But at the very least, I have a roadmap, and I see, okay, is this stuff that I'm going to be invested in? And if you like the Wolfenstein story, you're probably going to be invested in this DLC.
Well, I'm loving that 4K 60. I love that.
Absolutely.
I'm in the camp of some games don't need this season pass.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I get that.
some games do and some games just don't. I love my fighting games.
Mhm.
All right. I purchased Injustice God Among Us, Injustice God Among Us 2, Tekken, all these, and they got season passes. Why are you holding back characters in a game where we got Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 4, and those games gave you every character? You have 50-man rosters. Tekken has 60-man rosters. They released all of them, time releases or whatever, however they did it. But now it's behind this little paywall that I don't get certain characters and that I got to pay for in a fighting game. Which kind of pisses me off. I can see in an open world game where you opening up other parts of the map, and as far as Fallout goes, yeah, they kind of gangster with their stuff, and I pay for their season pass. Some season passes, I got to the point where I was a habitual season pass purchaser out of fear of losing out. FOMO.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it almost pressures you. Yeah. If you like it,
I ordered the whole game. Let me get the whole game. In some games, I've never touched the season pass. Like I was like, "What? The stuff came out?"
Facts.
It's
Facts.
It's disgusting that we feel as consumers that if we don't get it now, that the Bethesda thing rubbed me completely the wrong way. I'll never forget the day Cognito told me that, the season pass coming out. Oh yeah, I'll pick it up right before it comes out. He said, no. Tomorrow at noon is $60. I said, what? He said, yeah, it's $30 now, but tomorrow at noon is $60. I said, who said that? They did. I had to purchase right then and there. And I never felt more pressured as a gamer in a while from right there. It's like either put up or shut up. And, either, be in or be left out. And shout out to Lord Anger, man. He's always, screaming the praises of Bethesda. He's a true Bethesda head. They give great parties, but they suck at descriptions of their season passes. And Lord Sovereign just said that, they're getting their stuff together. Maybe the backlash of us talking about it and, people voting with their dollars didn't like the practices of the last season pass. And this season pass gives you a better description. Like they said, we got to vote with our dollars, but I'm a habitual season pass purchaser without even touching the content.
Real quick, big shout out to some of the best season pass ever, I think, which is The Witcher 3. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, that's
pass,
good. That's
my lord.
Absolutely. So if our Lord's got everything in, we're gonna slowly wrap this thing up slow. I know we went a little bit over. Lord Cactus a little later, but I just wanted to discuss the new poll that I want to talk about this week. We're gonna end this thing off. Basically, it's inspired by Lord Saab's topic and of course Destiny 2. So this is going to be put up on the ILP Twitter, and it's going to be, the question is going to be this: will a first-person shooter made in 2017 and beyond, running at 30 frames per second, stop you from purchasing it? So I need the people's opinion on it. It's a very contentious topic. So make sure you guys hit the polls, and we're gonna hit that back up for next week as far as the results. But thank everyone for a great show. Lord Cactus, man, thanks for coming through, man. Really appreciate you. And where can the fine people find the King of the North, the Destiny King of the North? That's what I'm calling you. Lord Cactus
for king.
Well, YouTube, KackisHD. That's pretty self-explanatory. Twitch, same thing, KackisHD. Twitter, @RickKackis. Yeah, no one follows me on Twitter, so y'all should do that.
I already followed you yesterday. I'm pretty sure you saw my name pop up.
Nice. And you got anything cooking up that we should pay attention to? We love those exotic fan-made exotics, man. I mean, your content's so great. So we just want to know if anything else recently is cooking up that we should be on the lookout for.
The last episode, the final episode of Fan Made Exotics is coming next Saturday, I think. Nice. We're winding it down just because Destiny 2, it's kind of outdated at this point.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a sword in it, right?
Lord Attic loves his swords.
But other than that, no, just kind of getting ready, getting prepared for Destiny 2, really. Gotcha. So Destiny 2, any Destiny 2 news, important stuff that comes out, definitely I'll be covering it. And I think I'm going to take part in the PC beta as well. I just want to like really see how that runs, and so that's going to be exciting. And then of course, it's getting close to the full game. The only other thing I guess is I record the script. I got to get gameplay as much as I don't want to, but the Ultimate Crucible Guide, Parody Guide Part 2 is coming out, and it's gonna be savage. Let's just say that it's good. There's gonna be so many zingers you guys won't even be able to keep track.
I'm so excited, bro. I can't wait. I mean, like I said, I love your content. Always speak your mind. You're one of the pioneers out there. It was great to chop it up with you at Guardian Con. And yeah, man, I mean, this Lord, I had one of the best conversations. We were just talking Destiny, and it was just really cool. And like I said, you're always welcome on the ILP anytime you want, man. True blue guy, this guy. Lord Kackis. So, of course, the usual suspects. We're going to wrap up. Lord Addict, where can the fine people find you? And what's going on with that Addict show and that Gaming Addict channel?
I ain't really done nothing with the Addict stuff, man. Like, I keep going at people in my comment sections. I mean, I usually don't let them get to me. But here in the past couple of days, man, like, they've been coming at me. So, I'm definitely going to be making an Addict spotlight on the beta for Destiny 2. Here pretty soon. I'm still getting that together. You can follow me on YouTube, Gaming Addict. You can follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict ILP. Anchorman loves saying I'm the person with many identities. I don't know who I am. So, but I do. I definitely want to take a minute out. Let me tell you about KackisHD. This man has no business being on this podcast with us. He's definitely. We are way out of his reach. I got to take a second and. Thank this man for coming on here.
No ego.
A lot of people in his range are very, very exclusive. You got to be in their clique to really mess with them. But, not HD.
Listen, no one invites me on podcasts, so
oh, guess who new home you found?
and if you guys don't follow Destiny, this man does a lot of other content. I encourage you to follow him on Twitter and YouTube.
Channel. Yeah, KackisHD, follow his channel, man. Great stuff. And not just Destiny stuff, also for the people the Destiny haters. He does looter shooters.
Destiny haters.
I mean, it's mostly Destiny right now. It's mostly Destiny.
I was
the folks.
Yes. I was mainly implying that you do branch out.
Just quickly, Anthem. Remember at E3 that Anthem game? That's something I'm definitely looking at.
Nice. Now, if Division comes out with a sequel, will you be covering that as well?
Maybe. The Division was a fun game. Like, it was a legitimately fun game. It just didn't have the staying power of Destiny, and some of the expansions were vastly more underwhelming than others. Like the latest expansion came out. It's all focused on PvP in a dark zone. I'm not really into that, so I just wasn't really into that expansion and stuff.
Yeah.
They also did some good things, but at the end of the day, I think Destiny just had more staying power.
Yeah, but it's like I said, I've always been following KackisHD. I might not agree with all of his videos.
You're wrong, but
I might not agree with all of them, but he's definitely a solid YouTuber. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. And Lord Sovereign, my Xbox offline profile is going to be online this week. Where can the fine people find you?
Well, first of all, big thanks to Lord Kackis for coming on. Definitely appreciate that. And as always, the good people could find me or not find me on Xbox Live at BX Sovereign, PSN BX Sovereign, one word, and on Twitter, Lord Sov ILP.
Yeah, and if you try to send him a party invite, don't get offended because he don't even join my party. So.
Yes, he doesn't join his own lord sometimes. It's a single player experience for a reason. And of course, the XS Gamer Lord King. Where can the fine people find you?
I would like to say, Lord Kackis, thank you for showing up. I watched a couple of your videos yesterday, and like I said, I followed you on Twitter. But you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. PSN. The tag is Xbox 360 Lover 01. I'm looking for more friends. Please,
yeah, you're gonna find a lot.
Hey, to be fair, Cactus, he can't change it. Okay.
Oh, he doesn't want to change that one.
Oh no, I would not change it if I could, baby.
The ultimate fanboy console troll.
Yeah.
I feel you. And of course, it's like Lord Cognito here, spreading you that gaming realness. We're always telling you not necessarily what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So please hit that like, subscribe on the ILP, all our media outlets, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud. All that support really helps us. You know, the Lord is much appreciated. We've got a lot of good things cooking up, some surprises, you know, for the people that you guys might get excited. And again, we want to thank our Lord Kackis one last time for coming through, and hopefully we see him again. So on that note, we're going to end this thing and we're out. Peace.